Every bolt action player gets the Recce rule wrong. Here's the fix. The Recce rule comes up in almost every competitive game of bolt action, and most tables are playing at least one part of it wrong, not because the players aren't paying attention, but because the rule book is genuinely ambiguous in two places. The version most tables default to hands one side a consistent advantage that they don't even know that they have. Today I'm going to go through exactly what the rule actually says, what the errata changed, and the one sentence answer to every table argument this rule causes. So first, what is a Recce vehicle and why does this rule matter enough to get it right? Recce vehicles are a specific vehicle category in bolt action, short for reconnaissance. German players have some of the best options in the game. The British have the Dingo, the Soviets have the BA-64, Americans have the M20, and if you're playing Conflict 47, the same rule applies across all your factions. The rule gives them two things no other vehicle type has. First, they can reverse faster than normal vehicles, that's significantly faster. And second, when they're shot at, they can react before the shot is even resolved. These two things together make a Recce vehicle worth its points in ways that don't really show up in a stat comparison, but only if you know exactly how the rule works. And this is where most people get it consistently wrong. So let's start with reversing, because this rule got a specific update in the errata for page 131 and it changes how you move these vehicles. In the base rules, any vehicle reversing could only move at half its advance rate. So a vehicle with a 12-inch advance gets a 6-inch reverse. Slow, predictable, easy to pin down. Recce vehicles were already the exception. They can reverse at their full advance rate. That's a 12-inch advance vehicle gets a full 12-inch in reverse. And some Recce vehicles with dual direction steering can reverse at a full run speed. That's a genuine threat. Here's the errata clarification. If an order test is failed and there is a visible enemy in the front arc, the reverse move must be a straight backwards, no pivot allowed, and the vehicle must move as fast as it can. It's not optional. The most common mistake I see at tables, a player pivoting their Recce vehicle before reversing. The errata is explicit. If you failed your order test, there's no pivot. The direction the vehicle is already facing when you declare the reverse is the direction you're going, and you move at the maximum speed for that vehicle type. Why does this matter tactically? Because a Recce vehicle that fails an order test is committed to the angle it's in, and that changes how you position these vehicles in the first place. If they have or are likely to gain pins, you want them to be angled for retreat before the shooting phase starts, not during it. Now, this is where it gets interesting and where the majority of arguments actually happen. When a Recce vehicle is shot at, it can react. The rule calls this the escape reaction. The key condition is this: it has taken no other action that turn yet. So if you haven't moved it, shot with it, or giving it any order, when an enemy unit shoots at it, it can escape, and this is before that shot is resolved. What the escape actually does is the Recce vehicle makes a normal advance or run move, exactly as if you'd given it an order. It can go forward or reverse. The priority for where it needs to end up is very specific, and it's stated in this order. Priority 1, it must try to end out of sight of the attacker. Priority 2, if that's not possible, it must try to improve its cover save. Priority 3, if that's also not possible, it must end further away from the attacker. It cannot move closer to the attacker unless doing so would put it in better cover or out of sight. Now that's important. You can't use the escape to opportunistically advance onto another target. It cannot use the escape to assault an enemy unit. And after the escape, you turn the vehicle's dice to advance or run, whichever speed it had used, and then the shot is resolved normally. If the vehicle is moved out of range or out of sight, the shot automatically misses. The attacker shoots and misses. Here's the detail that catches players out most often. Vehicles escaping at advanced speed cannot fire. So if you escape at advance, the vehicle's dice is turned to advance. It has used its activation for this turn. It's done. If you escape at run speed, obviously no firing either. That's already built into the run order. So if you remember one thing from this section, remember this. The escape reaction uses the vehicle's activation for the turn. You're making a trade. You reduce the chance of the vehicle being hit, but you give up any chance of shooting with it this turn. That trade is almost always worth making. A vehicle that's moved out of sight has an automatic miss against it. A vehicle that sits still and fires might absorb a hit that takes it out. But it is a trade. It's not a free ability. But what about a Recce vehicle that's an ambush? It's already declared its action. It's waiting to react. Does that mean the escape reaction is blocked? The exact wording from the rules is this. Recce vehicles that are shot at can react as long as they have taken no other action that turn yet or are in ambush. Read that clause again at the end. Or are in ambush. That is not a restriction. That is an additional permission. A Recce vehicle in ambush can still use the escape reaction. The ambush clause is clarifying that even though ambush is technically a declared action, the Recce vehicle is still allowed to escape when shot at. It's a specific exception for Recce vehicles from the general rule that any prior action blocks escape. The confusion at most tables comes from reading or are in ambush and reading that as a limiting clause, as if it's saying the only condition where Recce with an action can still escape is ambush. That reading is correct, but players then reverse it to mean ambush blocks it. It doesn't. It's explicitly stated as a permission. So, Recce vehicles on ambush gets shot at. It can escape. After the escape, its dice turns to advance or run and the ambush is spent. That's not ambiguous. That's the rule. The second place arguments happen is on assaults. When an enemy unit declares an assault against your Recce vehicle, the escape reaction can trigger. But there are two conditions that both need to be true. Condition 1, the assaulting unit has to be over 6 inches away when it declares the assault. And condition 2, your Recce vehicle has not taken any action yet that turn. If both are true, you have a choice. You can fire at the assaulting unit as an overwatch reaction, normal reaction fire, or you can escape. If you choose to escape on an assault, the priority is different from an escape when being shot at. You're not worrying about line of sight or cover. You simply need to increase the distance from the assaulting unit to get further away. That's really the only objective. After the escape move, measure from the assaulting unit to where your vehicle ended up. If you're now out of assault range, the assaulting unit moves their full move towards your vehicle, keeping clear of other enemy units as normal. If they reach you, the assault is resolved as normal. This is where players get surprised. Assaulting infantry still hit on a 6, even if your reverse move was at run speed. The Recce escape doesn't reduce the effectiveness of the assault if it connects. It just gives you a chance to avoid the contact entirely. If the assault succeeds, you're just a vehicle getting assaulted. The Recce rule doesn't help you there. Two situations where the escape reaction simply does not apply. These are stated clearly in the rules, and they come up at tables because players assume Recce is a blanket. I can always escape ability. It isn't. Situation 1, towing. If your Recce vehicle is towing anything, a gun, a trailer, any tool, it cannot use the escape reaction. It becomes a normal vehicle for the purposes of being shot at. This matters particularly for players who use Recce vehicles as utility transports, then attach a tow mid-game. Situation 2. Airstrikes and artillery barrages. A recce vehicle cannot escape these. The rules explain exactly why. An airstrike doesn't require line of sight and doesn't roll to hit in the normal way. There's no targeting moment to react to. The barrage just lands. Now, let's bring this together into the 5 points that cover every recce table argument you'll ever have. 1. Recce vehicles that fail a morale test reverse at full advance speed, straight back, no pivot, maximum speed, errata confirmed. 2. When shot at, they can escape, as long as they haven't already activated that turn. That includes if they're on ambush, especially if they're on ambush. 3. The escape uses their activation. The dice goes to advance or run, no firing at advance speed, please. 4. They can escape on assault reactions, but only if the assaulter is over 6 inches away and the recce vehicle hasn't activated yet. 5. The escape is blocked if they're towing or if the attack is from aircraft or artillery barrage. That is the complete rule. Every situation has an answer in those 5 points. If you'd like my easy reference sheet for version 3 with all the tables, special rules, etc. in one place, so that you don't have to keep referring to the rule book, just type ref sheet in the comments down below and I'll send it to you. And why not like and subscribe down below again while you're at it to be instantly updated when we put the next video out. So take care guys, and I'll talk to you all again soon.